What's up guys, it's Endymion, and today I want to talk about a video that was recently uploaded by an ex-BioWare higher-up who worked on projects like Dragon Age and Anthem, and how the creation of games like Mass Effect, all the way to BioWare's most recent release Anthem, were plagued by a term used internally called BioWare magic. The video in question was posted by Mark Dara, who used to work at BioWare during many of its creations in the past. In the video, Dara basically condemns BioWare's work structure and says the majority of their projects, especially Anthem, were hellscapes that made little progress for a long period of time, only for everything to suddenly, out of nowhere, make sense and coalesce into a proper experience. That is, in a nutshell, what Mark Dara and many other former BioWare developers refer to as BioWare magic. Dara goes on to explain that the development of a game at BioWare can be viewed as, well, a hockey stick. It's a straight line where not much gets done, and like the curved end of a hockey stick, that's where things pick up. It's a nice analogy since, BioWare is based in Canada and, well, Canadians love their hockey. I'm Canadian too, so I can make this joke. The malign term of BioWare magic has plagued the studio for years. So much so that projects like Dragon Age Inquisition, which was, well, recorded to be an absolute pain in the ass to create, had so much crunch in terms of developers working long hours into the night, ignoring their families and friends, that many BioWare developers, who obviously for good reason remained anonymous, secretly hoped Inquisition would fail so the work culture at BioWare would change. But that obviously didn't happen, and Inquisition went on to win Game of the Year at multiple publications, which only further cemented BioWare's higher-ups at the time that the hockey stick analogy way of developing games are a good thing. Sacrifices be damned. This has led to, understandably, a ton of people leaving and returning and then leaving again when it comes to BioWare specifically. People like Casey Hudson, who we know as the creator of Mass Effect, left the company only to come back amidst Andromeda and Anthem's poor receptions, tried to steer the BioWare ship right, and eventually he left and went on to create his own studio called Humanoid Studios, which is apparently working on a story-driven AAA game that apparently already has a working prototype as of now too, which is interesting. And Mark Dara, of course, left too, not to mention Mike Laidlaw, who used to be in charge of everything Dragon Age related. Laidlaw would end up joining Ubisoft, where he apparently was working on a game there called Avalon, which was based on King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. But it was ultimately scrapped by Ubisoft, possibly because it was too close in design and idea to their popular Assassin's Creed games. Not to mention, Valhalla literally takes place in England, and you can obtain the Excalibur and such, but I mean, an open world King Arthur game would have been dope. But that's Ubisoft for you. Since then, Laidlaw has left Ubisoft and founded his own indie studio called Yellow Brick Studios. It just seems like all the major creative big hitter talents at BioWare have essentially, in the past few years, jumped ship. And it sucks. Even David Gator left, who was one of the principal writers on the Dragon Age franchise as well. He's currently in Australia, working at a new studio, and is very angry on Twitter that he's having trouble selling his home in Canada. I hope you sell it, Gator. But it doesn't bring me much confidence to see all these people leaving BioWare, and with Dara so openly condemning the workplace structure and atmosphere of BioWare, it sucks. It really does. But Dara even says in his video, which I will link in the description of course, that this BioWare magic mentality isn't unique to only BioWare, as Dara name drops companies like CD Projekt Red as having their own form of the concept where crunch, long developments, and questionable leadership tactics making games that should take 2 to 3 years to develop, instead ballooning in cost and time because the vision isn't clear. We only need to look at CD's most recent release, Cyberpunk 2077, and the absolute crapstorm of a release that was when it released in December 2020, to one of the most negative game receptions I think I've ever seen in the entirety of the industry. I mean, I still own Cyberpunk, I bought it on sale, and it's just sitting on my shelf unused for the past year and then some as I wait for the PS5 version of that game to release. But how long until that version comes out and actually works properly, who the hell knows at this point, but it's good to see that some development studios are actually combating this crunch that has plagued BioWare for so long, at least. Studios like Insomniac Games, who make stuff like Spider-Man and Ratchet Clank, are open that their studio is a 40-hour work week and that's it. You don't do overtime, you're not required to do it, you do your 40 hours a week and you just go enjoy your life. And actually, Ratchet Clank Rift Apart was created with this development structure in mind. There was basically apparently no real crunch for Ratchet & Clank, and the game was great. It was full of quality, it sold well, reviewed well, and was considered one of the best games of 2021, so AAA development can be crunchless. What's surprising and great is that a number of development studios have pushed back against this toxic culture and have actually shifted to 4-day work weeks exclusively. Studios like Galactic Cafe, who created the Stanley Parable, are one of those very studios leading the charge, as they even delayed the deluxe version of the game because the developers refused to crunch in order to speed the process, and I'm okay with it. Because game developers are human beings like anyone else, and they're the reason we have so many great games releasing every year. Even studios like Eidos Montreal, the makers of Deus Ex Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, or more recently Guardians of the Galaxy, have also been pushing back as well to embrace a less toxic, crunchless development structure, and that's great. I'm happy for them. So bringing this back to BioWare, Mark Darrah was brave to post the video he did about the term BioWare magic, and I can only hope in the now and future BioWare is not crunching and crushing their developers to make the next Mass Effect or Dragon Age happen quicker. As much as I want the next game in both those series to be in my hands right now, the mental well-being and health of the people behind these monolithic projects are more important than making sure a game releases on time. So maybe instead of crunching people and calling it magic, BioWare is hopefully letting their developers breathe and relax, and in turn, the quality of their upcoming games will reflect that, and in turn, could be the rebirth of the term BioWare magic. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe, like, share to give my life meaning. Thanks to my patrons for their support. And I'm Endymion. I'll see you in the next one.